We are Cam and Heather on Sea Clef, and we are on the trip of a lifetime. Come share in our adventures as we take you through the Great Lakes to Chicago, down through the river system of the Midwest, along the panhandle of Florida, across the Gulf of Mexico, and down the west side of Florida, crossing through the Okeechobee Waterway to eastern Florida. Then share in our adventures as we continue throughout the Bahamas and back up the eastern seaboard, finally returning to Canada on America's Great Loop.
This is the Norfolk Southern Railroad Bridge. Honestly, by the looks of it, I wonder if they still use it. It's the first bridge that you approach on your way north after leaving Elizabeth City. We actually found it really hard as we were coming toward it to see where the opening was.
In this voyage, we travel across 2 travel days from Elizabeth City to Norfolk, Virginia. Our first day of travel is from Elizabeth City to the Dismal Swamp Visitor Center, located partway through the canal. It was a relatively short travel day at just 20.5 nautical miles. We departed just before 11 a.m. and arrived at the Visitor Center around 2:50 p.m. Update from the bridge. We are in the Pasquotank, and I'm sorry if that's pronounced wrong.
I have no idea. Pasquotank.
Anyway, we're on that river from Elizabeth, and it has been spectacular. We really enjoyed running through here. It's like being lost in a forest of trees. It's
what else would a forest be made of?
Forest of... Anyway, moving on. We're just on our last turn before we go on to Turner's Cut. Turner's Cut is the last body of water before we actually enter into the lock and go into the Dismal Canal. And so we will be making that turn shortly and headed for the Dismal.
Just coming up to Turner's Cut. That's Turner's Cut there, and that's the other way. 2 rivers diverged in the woods, and we took the one more traveled by, and that, my friends, will make all the difference in getting us to the Dismal Swamp Canal.
So it looks like what we do is we loop around the bollards that are on the top on a bow line and a stern line, and as the boat comes up, we just take up the slack. The gates are closing. We'll be going up 8 feet, and then we'll be entering Dismal Swamp.
So we are through the log, letting us into the Dismal Swamp, and we are just approaching the bridge. I guess one of the sailboats is getting off here. I think that they are Canadian. They're just going in to buy some supplies. I think a couple of boats just realized that they would not be able to traverse the entire canal, that they would have to stay in the canal overnight.
We're docked at the visitor center. We're definitely on a log or something. Basically, our bow won't come any further in toward the dock, but we're secure. It's a little squishy in here. There's several boats on the dock, and so we're in. We docked at the Dismal Swamp Visitor Center, and we walked across the pedestrian bridge, and we've picked up a boardwalk that takes us through the swamp on a loop. You can take either boardwalk at the entrance and loop around.
It's kind of hard to get a sense of this one, but this tree has fallen over, so you can see back here is the big root system, and the branches continued to grow, and they grew straight up, and they look like very healthy trees up there. Pretty cool. This is our dinner entertainment this evening. A young man from the lifeboat, just hoping to get enough money to buy fuel.
Dark bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, heading to the Frisco Bay. 'Cause I've got nothing left for, nothing's gonna come my way.
Good morning from the bridge of Sea Clef on this beautifully dismal morning.
Dismally beautiful.
Dismally beautiful. So funny to be in the Dismal Swamp and have an interstate highway like right there. Very weird. we stayed over.
17.
We stayed overnight at the visitor center. That was kind of cool. A lot of fun. We had a guy that brought his guitar and was performing, and
On his lifeboat.
on his lifeboat. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are underway. It is our hope to make the 11 o'clock lock at the north end of the Dismal Swamp. The Dismal Swamp the canal was dug in it. I was thinking that it was drained, but what's happened is about a third of the Dismal Swamp is left in its swamp conditions. The natural resources, or whatever they call it here in the United States, have moved in to protect the area. And
State park.
state park, yeah. So to try and maintain things the way they are right now, the natural habitat, and but about the other 2/3 has been drained and cleared and made into land and like farmland, or I guess more usable land. It was called Dismal Swamp because often when people were talking about swamps back in those days, and we're talking late 1700s, even in the 1600s, they would just call them dismals. And so there is an early map that first indicates it as the Dismal Swamp. But it was George Washington, when he was 31, who first said that it was glorious, and it certainly is.
Our second day of travel took us from the visitor center right through to the Waterside Marina in Norfolk, Virginia.
There we go. Welcome to Virginia. That is the 12th state for us on our great loop. Of course, we've been to lots of others. And of course, the flip side, we are just leaving North Carolina. This is the coolest way. We've never actually seen a state announced because most of the time we're crossing invisible borders. We are in Virginia. Woohoo! Bend in the Dismal Swamp Canal. Does it have a name, Cam?
The Great Bend.
We're gonna call it the Great Bend. There's some branches sticking out on the left side.
That's all right. It didn't clean the scum off the water line. Mile marker 23, and we are at the Great Bend.
Is like a series of stumps, which almost looks like there used to be a fence here. I did read in one thing that they've done a lot of work on the canal, in years after it opened, and they raised it at some point. So maybe that's the old walls of the canal. string of boats doing this stretch, plus just passing someone. We've got a lot of warnings about trees in this stretch right ahead of us. We can see a deadhead right there, and then there's another one further up right in the middle, Cam. Yeah, looks like it's attached to a tree. And then way up ahead on the yeah, it's right, yeah. Sorry, Captain lost sight of it, so. Okay, we're clear. And right up here, there's another big one. And people are passing it, only seeing 1 or 2 feet under their keel. Definitely have some debris in the water now. It's a huge floating log. I think we heard about this one on the radio. They said 16 inches in diameter. It's enormous. I can't believe it's still floating out here. Yeah. And then right ahead of us, there's a tree down. It looks like they've tried to tie this one back. I can see some of the line they used to tie it back. We're far over to starboard to try and avoid it, so hopefully the branches from this guy don't scratch up against the side of the boat. So we haven't had much trouble with depth. We've seen as low as 4 on our depth sounder, but we always add another 2 feet to that, so we know we're good. They say they guarantee 6 feet in the middle of the channel, so they have asked us to report back when we come across something in the middle of the channel, and then they make sure they come out and try and find it and clear it.
You're going to have a tide swing and you should be fine getting back out to the main ICW.
Just beautiful coming through here. We've been real slow for the last little bit because Polly P in front of us radioed, let us know that they hit something in here right in the middle of the channel. I think we're past where they were now, but you know, you only go as fast as how hard you want to hit something. Sometimes the channel gets super, oh my gosh, that's pretty close. Yesterday we did get scratched. I probably made y'all dizzy there. We are at the north end of the canal, and one of our 5 boats has radioed in. We are 5 boats all rafted together here, waiting for the bridge to open, and then we'll go to the lock. So here we are behind us. We are rafted to Anna D. That's Polly P behind them. Life raft.
Everybody has a story on that.
And against the dock is Not Last One. There's Emmy.
It's our last block of our lives.
We are to the bridge that we've all been waiting for. And now we're just going nice and slow. We're at the head of the pack this time. and we are waiting for the lock operator slash bridge operator to get up to the lock and open the gates. Let's have a look. Not sure if he's there yet. I know it's a quarter mile, plus he's got to get down there, and then he's got to walk across to the other side. He wants to meet us on the port side.
We are at the North Lock. We waited for the bridge, came through the bridge, and just about a quarter mile up is the lock. And we were last in line arriving, which means we're first in line into the lock. And everybody's getting lined up here. Can't see anybody else, but I guess there's a few boats back there that you can see. This is our last lock before Norfolk, and I guess probably our last lock until the New York canal system. So our side trip through the Dismal Swamp is over. We've gone through the last lock. We're into the Norfolk area, and you can see that we're back onto Bob's tracks. We have converged with the two sort of alternate AICW routings have now converged, and we're back on the AICW for another 7.3 miles. Before that's the end of the AICW. Update from the bridge. We're in Norfolk, and we have boat traffic, train traffic, car traffic, and right now we're at Railroad Bridge number 7, and it's open all the time unless there's a train coming through. Well, our luck seems to be to find those trains, and so we have watched a train go through, and then the bridge didn't open for us. And we chatted with them for a few minutes and discovered that there is another train coming, and it's going to be probably 30 minutes before it's going to open, and we're in pretty stiff winds trying to hold position as we wait for this bridge to open. This portion of our travels was 24.3 nautical miles, and we departed at 7:40 in the morning, arriving in the Waterside Marina at 2:20 p.m.